The role that Eugene Fitzherbert will play as he lives out his days married to the Queen of Corona has finally been revealed. He has accepted the position of Captain of the Guards, and today I'm going to explain why he deserves this position and why the woman who spent her whole life striving for it will likely never obtain this role, even though at one point she probably deserved it. Hello, I'm Isaac from Wotso Videos, where we discuss fun topics for fun people. I'm focused on spreading magic by examining Disney, so if you are new here, consider following my adventures over on Instagram and subscribing.
My replacement has put his life on the line for Corona countless times, and so it is with utmost confidence that I recommend Eugene Fitzherbert.
When I saw that the man who had stolen the crown of the princess and had spent years becoming the legendary Flynn Rider was going to be the captain of the guard, I was a little shocked, but I wasn't stunned right away. I was kind of surprised the captain appointed him, since I knew they had a pretty strained relationship in the past, to say the least.
You are a loathsome, pathetic excuse for a human being, and it is my full intention to make your life a living nightmare.
But his reasoning now made sense for why he had chosen him. The whole character of Flynn Rider was someone who I could kind of take or leave in the original Tangled movie, but throughout Tangled the series, I really learned to appreciate Eugene Fitzherbert and all of his humor, antics, and ego. I began to really care about his relationship with Rapunzel, and he became a more developed person as his story progressed. So while I did see some people get a little upset that he became captain of the guards, to me, it seemed like a very logical extension of who he was. In the past, Eugene went through the trials of being a guard and passed. He didn't do so hot at first falling in line or following the orders of others once he was part of the guard, but that was early on in his time in Corona. His ability to protect those he loves and fight for the good of Corona has greatly improved from those prior mistakes. I would say that Eugene is a competent, fierce, and kind soldier of Corona who would do anything for his future queen. Eugene had become a hero within Corona as he had battled mysterious spirits, curses, and magic, fought the misguided Varian, ventured to the Dark Kingdom with the princess, and helped reclaim the kingdom when they returned. He even helped to save the captain of the guards when he became consumed by the magic of the Lorbs. Sure, he had a troubled past. I mean, he had literally robbed Queen Ariana in the past, but he had moved on from that even if he initially didn't realize it.
Me? Come on. I was a legendary thief. I was Flynn Rider.
You were Flynn Rider.
Flynn Rider was a persona that he had left in his past, along with his true birth name of Horace. And if you'd like to hear more about his true origins and who his parents were, you can find a link to that video that I made down in the description. But I can still see why some people might be upset that Eugene took on this position, because there was another person who had longed for that role her whole life. The captain of the guard's daughter, Cassandra, who he adopted early into her life, had been clamoring throughout her existence to please her father, and she believed to do that she would have to become the captain of the guards after him. The big holdup, though, was that he was an overprotective parent, so even when she had become one of the most qualified citizens of Corona to serve, she remained a lady in waiting. And while she's pretty good at that job, I'd say she's a much better soldier.
Dad, I've been training with the guard since I was 6. I know castle procedures and protocol better than anyone, so if there's any other reason why you feel I'm not ready besides me being your daughter, I'm all ears.
Cassandra was tactical, ready for combat, had a good heart, had proven she could save Corona, and was able to lead the guard when her father was unable to serve. There seemed to be no reason that she would be left waiting in the wings much longer. But then she followed her best friend outside the walls of Corona, and that's where the problems began for her. Honestly, if she would have stayed in Corona and continued to lead the guards when her father recovered from his injuries, she probably would have inherited the position. I think she would have finally gotten everything she had desired. I mean, even though Eugene has had a lot of growth, I think Cassandra probably still has a better understanding of what it takes to be the captain of the guards and what it takes to execute this task effectively. I don't know if there is anyone in Corona who would have a greater knowledge about the role other than her father himself, but she can't be the captain of the guards because eventually, on the way to the Dark Kingdom, Cassandra was led astray, and by understanding that development in her life, we can see why she can't be the captain of the guards. With the reveal that she was the daughter of Mother Gothel, she was manipulated into serving the demonic entity Zontiri, stealing the Moonstone, turning away from Rapunzel and Corona, and allowing herself to become the very entity she had once swore to protect her home from. Now, the captain of the guards isn't totally guiltless in this matter, for he had lied about Cassandra's true origins her entire life, which is clearly not good. If you know a truth about someone and you don't tell them, you can't be surprised when they are hurt when you didn't tell them. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. If you have a different one, definitely let me know down below. Either way though, this inability to keep his daughter from going down a noble path crushed him. He searched all across the world for her and was devastated when she threw him aside. The captain of the guards didn't know how to cope with this development. He couldn't believe he had lost his daughter, which got him involved with some pretty weird magic that he hoped would allow him to restart how he had raised his daughter. For a brief moment, he tried to use a curse to bring a new version of his daughter into existence, but as Rapunzel explains to him, he can't just give up on his true daughter.
You do not just get to forget about Cass and start over. Family sticks together.
After Rapunzel gets through to him, he is willing to give up the artificial Cass so that he can spend his time working to save his true daughter and attempt to make amends for the mistakes of his past. But unfortunately, when he returns, he's still haunted by Cassandra. The captain of the guards has terrible nightmares in Corona, where he sees his daughter continuing to clash against him and his soldiers, and he realizes that he won't allow himself to face her.
Cassandra, I can't fight you.
Then you will never be able to protect Corona.
This development is really tragic to see, as he's been a very noble person from the very beginning of Rapunzel's story. He was the man who had searched for the golden flower and had looked for Rapunzel for years. He had been watching over Corona Rapunzel's entire life, and now, because of this whole development with his daughter, he felt ripped away from his duty. The captain of the guards definitely wasn't perfect, but I had a lot of sympathy for him. But it's truly through these nightmarish moments where the captain of the guard realizes that he can no longer serve.
I have sworn to defend this kingdom against all who threaten it. But as a father, I cannot face my daughter in battle.
Captain, you have served Corona with dignity and pride for so many years. Thank you.
And we respect your decision.
So while the captain of the guards played his part in pushing Cassandra away through his inability to bring her on as a guard and refused to tell her the truth, the fact was that her being away made him give up his position, even though she likely would have inherited the role. Because she had turned against Corona, her father had to give the spot as captain of the guard to someone else. Now, I'm sure it'll definitely hurt her when she finds out her nemesis in Corona was able to get her dream position, but that's the price she has to pay for falling into darkness. Honestly, I always had kind of held out hope, even from the very early days of talking about her, that she would end up as the captain of the guards, but maybe that just won't happen. There definitely is still the possibility that she could be redeemed, and maybe when Eugene becomes the king of Corona, that he'll assign her to be the captain of the guards. But at the same time, I could also see Eugene retaining this role, since he will likely be more of a ceremonial king while Rapunzel rules. I don't know if it would make sense to give this responsibility to Eugene right at the end of the series, unless he was going to keep it and make it a part of who he was. Maybe this was the purpose he was always meant to have in his life, and this would be one of his final steps in his long journey. He already went through the process of being a lying, manipulative thief, so it makes sense that the thing that is farthest from that is becoming a man of the law. So in my mind, the reason Cassandra can't be the captain of the guards is because even though Eugene also doesn't have a perfect record, he was there when Corona needed him. While it may feel a bit unfair that Cassandra never got the opportunity to lead the guards throughout her life, the reality is that when the king and his kingdom needed someone to watch over it, a hero was there who had proven his strength, endurance, care, knowledge, and might. Eugene Fizherbert was there to take on the position of captain of the guards. But what do you think? Let me know down below, and while you're down there, be sure to help out the channel by liking the video and subscribing and clicking the beautiful bell if you're new. Also, go buy the Wotso Videos merchandise, make sure to listen to my podcast Following Dreams, and consider supporting the channel over on Patreon. Big shout out to Eleanor Tudden and Viola James for becoming new supporters, and to Austin Bress, Sarita Mary Schutz, and Stephanis Serjaputra for being longtime supporters. Finally, thanks for watching and have a magical day.